Hi Yogi, welcome to Yoga with Alina, and today we have another tutorial and we'll talk about traditional headstand. Now, why did I want to do this tutorial? Because this pose is pretty advanced. It might look very difficult, but the truth is with a good setup, with a good foundation, you can do it. And I'll tell you a personal experience or a personal story, if you will. I think I always say this, that tripod headstand is probably a little bit easier to set up. But the truth is, for me personally, when I first did, that first time I did tripod headstand, I actually, right in about 5 minutes after that, I was able to do a traditional headstand. So again, they're very similar. Once you get a hang of it, you'll be able to do it as long as you know your foundation. So we're going to talk about it today. But before we get on our mat, there are a few rules that I want you to follow if you decide to practice your headstand with me. Rule number one, or I always say there are two no-nos and one extra rule. So the first no-no, we are never jumping into that. And the reason for it is because we don't want to screw up the neck, right? You only have one neck. You screw up your neck, you're screwed. It's no fun. So we really want to take care of that. It has enough pressure in this pose as it is without added pressure of trying to stabilize your entire body. So no jumping into this pose. Another no-no is we are not using the wall. And I know that a lot of people are going to be thrown off by that, but don't be scared, because if you're not jumping, you don't need anything to catch you. Everything we'll do is going to be your core work. It's going to be your muscles, and you will be able to control the entire pose, right? This is what we're looking for. We're looking for that control over our body. You don't need the wall here. Once you get on the wall, very difficult to get off the wall. So let's just drop that part and not even start with it. And one last rule, forget about how the pose should look like. I do not care about those legs being up to the ceiling, up in the air. It's not about that. Once you do your Instagram pose, that's when you're going to do that. For your actual practice, you really want it to be about your journey, not about destination, because the destination, the actual pose, is pretty easy to hold. Getting there is the tricky part, and this is what we're going to do right now. So let's go to the mat. So I'm here with Ted today again, and he's going to show us how it's done. Let's do it. All right, so before we do this whole thing, I'm just going to let you know what you're in for. We're going to go in 8 steps, and every step we're going to hold it, we're going to feel it. We might talk a little bit about it as well, so get ready. The first thing is obviously your setup, your foundation. So I want you to bring the arms just like this. Go for it. Good. And then bring the knees together. Nice. And bring your forearms right next to your knees. All right. Now this one, when you first do it, it's actually not going to be very comfortable. It's going to feel like your arms are super close to your body, and it's like a deep child's pose of a sort, right? But there is a reason why I want your forearms to touch your knees, and we're going to see it in just a couple of moments. Now keep the arms exactly where they are. The elbows are not going to move a single inch from this point on. Open up the arms and clasp the hands together, or you can do whatever you usually do. Good. So we're clasping the hands together. We're creating that triangle shape. Now remember, you really want stability here. So if your elbows are wider, there's no stability. If your elbows are narrower, there's no stability. This triangle, right, with all the same angles, 60-degree angles, you know I love my angles. If you've done my tutorials before, you already know it. 360-degree angle triangle. We are going to keep it because this is the most stable base for us, and this is what we're looking for. All right. Now, next tricky part. Without moving your feet anywhere, without moving your knees anywhere, I want the crown of the head to go down to the floor and side the arms. Good. Beautiful. So right now it's more of his forehead down, but that's just because it's pretty much physically impossible to lower the crown of the head without lifting the hips right now. But he has a good setup here. Now, one more thing. Some people like to interlace the fingers. Some people like to just bring one hand into another. Some people like to bring the forehead on top of the fingers, the thumbs, and some people like to bring the forehead inside the arms. It doesn't really matter. Whatever makes you feel stronger and more stable is exactly what you should be doing. So you do you, figure it out, and this part is going to be completely up to you. All right, now like how this setup looks, your feet are not going to go anywhere, and your next step, and by the way, this was step 1, we just set everything up hopefully for success. Let's see how it works. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to tuck the toes under, but keep the feet exactly where they are, and lift the hips up, lift the knees, and lift the hips up. Good. Now, because of the setup that we did before, his hips are almost already on top of the shoulders. He can walk the feet in a little bit more as well because he's not scared, but most of us are going to be scared to do this. So the setup is the only way you will be able to get as close to the alignment as possible. If your hips are super far all the way on that side, right, it's really hard, it's impossible to get into next steps. So remember, foundation is everything. Now this is your step 2. Once you get into this one, you will start feeling more pressure in your head, in your forearms, in your shoulders. By the way, you're pushing away from the ground, right? You're using your shoulders here. It's not just your neck, it's that entire region that is working. And if that's enough for you today, if this is where you feel it today, and this is where you want to, what you want to work on, you're staying here, because this might be scary, especially mentally. So if that's where you are, you're staying, you're stopping exactly here. All right, if you want to move further forward, your next step is going to be any foot, I don't care which one it is, it can be left or right, but you're going to squeeze the heel to the glute. Good. Now he's squeezing the heel to the glute, and if you've watched my tripod tutorial, then you know that we're trying to make ourselves as small as possible so that we can lift ourselves up later on. So this is our first attempt to do it. He's squeezing the heel to the glute, he's squeezing the knee into the chest, right into the bottom of the rib cage. And this is your step 3. And this is where we go to the step 4. This is the trickiest part ever, but this is where you know whether you have the strength to go further or not. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to keep this leg bent, right? It's your, which leg is it? It's your right leg bent. And then the left leg is going to stay straight, but you're just going to point the toes to lift them off the floor. That's it. This is your next step. This is the hardest step you will have. Good. You can lower the toes down. Good. And then point the toes again. That's it. No jumping, no momentum. This is strictly core. If you got that down, lift the foot up. Good. And you want to go to the next step. You're going to squeeze that other heel into the glute. No, squeeze it to, yeah, there you go. It's becoming a little bit easier to hold now. Nope, you're still holding it exactly where you are. Good. Now, this was the 5th step. Let's do the 6th step. You're going to love this one. You're going to lift the knees just halfway up. Just halfway. Lift the knees. Stop. Good. And then lower the knees back down. I'm torturing you again. Good. Let's do it again. Lift up. And then lower down. Now, obviously, you don't have to do the movement. Lift yourself back up. Good, stay here. But it's a really, really, really good way to know if your core is ready. This is essentially just a crunch. And if you can do this, you have a lot of support here, and you can definitely go further. Now, this is where you can start lifting the knees even further up and straighten one leg up at a time. Good, or both, doesn't matter. There you go. Now remember, our hips were already over the shoulders right from the very beginning, right? The rest was our core work. Good. Are you okay? I know I've kept you there for a really, really long time, and he's done a lot of work today. I'll tell you that much. Good. So we're in a nice, long, straight spine. Now here's one more thing that I want to mention while he's still in this pose. That when your body is in a straight line, it feels really light. So that moment when you feel lightness, I call it an oh shit moment, that means that you're actually in alignment. Don't get scared, because the moment that you feel that lightness, a lot of us, that's when we fall out because we get scared. But no, it's a good thing. You want to feel light. You don't want this to be a struggle. Struggle is over. Struggle was before. All right, same way we get in, we're getting out. Bend your knees first. Good. And then slowly lower the knees into your chest. Nope, keep this. There you go. You've done a lot. I'm sorry about this. I'm sorry. Good. This is how you should feel after you've done how many minutes of a headstand?
I don't know.
I think it's like a good 5 minutes or something. Oh my God. Okay.
Let's go back up and try that again.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Let's do it in steps. Okay? You go. Step number 1. Let's see how good of a student you are. All right, let's do it. Set up. Super close to your knees. That's it. Good. Crown of the head down, lift the hips up. Nice. One heel in, one foot up, another knee, heel in. Good. Lift the knees first, and then start lifting the legs up. Good. Now, same way we get in, we're getting out. Let's do it. Bending the knees, lowering the knees to the chest. It's a crunch. Straighten one leg. Lower down, straighten second leg. Good, lower the knees down. That is it. That was so beautiful. Thank you so, so much. Good. Thank you guys so much. So as you can see, no props needed, no walls needed. If you're controlling the core, going in steps, you can stop at any point. I cannot stress that enough. Forget about going all the way up. This is, again, that's for Instagram purposes. That's great. But for your actual yoga journey, you really need the strength. This is why you're doing it. So focus on your journey here. All right. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I hope you had fun with us. I know that we did. At least I did. I don't know. Good. And I hope you will be able to practice this pose with fun, joy, with mindfulness, right? And with a lot of care for your body and your mind. Thank you so much for staying with us today. From my heart to yours, namaste.